Brian Petrie coming weekly Wednesday takes. Not a gamble when I ramble. All my slime balls we parlay. We just stick to the money. The tickets no funny. The chalk boys get in the bag. Nothing to stage. Top in the cage. Needed a chin and he lay on the mat. It's Wednesday takes. Making Wednesday great. You'll see in MMA. Big Gun Brian, no denying where he be and what he say. Word of my cappers, we speak facts from start to finish. What's the weight? The value boys, we showing love. CGI dub is Wednesday takes.
Hey, hey, fire, absolute fire intro song by my man, Big Griff. Woo, that got me fucking pumped up. Wednesday takes, baby. We're here. Kind of made a big deal about it, and people are still kind of asking me what this is about. Me just giving my opinions, going over the headlines. I want to be more than the gambling guy. I want to be more than the one-trick pony. Yes, I can cash plus money tickets. Yes, I hit the slime ball parlay. Yes, I'm really good at it, But I want to be more. I want to dive in. I want to give my takes. The fucking podcast is called MMA Takes. Let me give you some takes, baby. So Wednesday takes. Every Wednesday, we're coming at you. We're going to go over the weekend MMA, some topics, discuss whatever. We got some stuff off the top we're going to get to. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a work in progress. Things are going to be added. Things are going to be getting better. First show, first run. I got a follower at Zach Lawhead. I believe that's his Twitter, who's creating a video intro for me as well. That's going to be great. So we're going to get better as we go, right? This is the pilot episode. You ever see your favorite TV show, the pilot episode? It's usually dog shit, okay? Hopefully this show's not dog shit. Hopefully we got something good coming at you. But I'm going to kind of cool it on the gambling. I did do a recap show this week. I hit a 14-1 on Ricky Simone. Hit an 8-1 on Matt Schnell. Hit the slime ball parlay. The only bet I lost was Donggun Jun. Your boy's up unis. And we're going into a fat bankroll week with Chris Curtis. Ooh, minus 110 last time I checked, boys. Stay tuned for that. That'll be the pick'em that it will be out tomorrow on this very channel. So hit that subscribe button. We're at 680-ish. Got to get to 1,000. Once I get to 1,000, I'll do the show naked if you want. I'll do the show, shave my head, have my wife come here, buzz this off, give t-shirts to 5 of you guys once we hit 1,000, whatever it may be, whatever you guys want. Let's get to 1,000. Tell a friend, tell a babysitter, tell a neighbor, tell somebody, goddammit. Let's go. So this is just going to be, I got some show notes here and we're just going to kind of go over some things. I got 2 big topics to discuss. I can exit out of that probably. 2 big topics to discuss. You guys obviously know one. I've been teasing it for a little bit. We'll leave with that, and then we'll dive into some Twitter questions. We'll go some quick takes. We'll go fight announcements, and at the very end, I'll do the very cliche pound for pound rankings as well. I have my own pound for pound rankings. This is up for debate, spirited debate. I know I'm not doing it live, but hammer me in the comments if I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. And here's a little tip. Here's a little tip for you guys, right? So I'm on the Anakin Flooring, as most of you guys know me from there. And the comments are, this guy's fat, diabetes, what is this fat guy talking about fights for? Listen, I get it. That's easy. That's an easy target. That's an easy thing. So if you're going to come at me, let's get a little more creative than calling me fat, okay? I'm 35. I'm married to my soulmate with 2 kids. Do you think I give a fuck if you call me fat? I had sex last night. Do you think I care? I don't, but let's get a little creative. You want to insult me? Come at me, baby. Come at me, cut me with it. Let's get a little more creative. But everything I talk about, it doesn't mean I'm right. This is my opinion. I want comments. I want engagement. I'm going to be right there in the comments with you. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. Everyone has an opinion, baby, and I love the debate. I love that MMA is such an opinionated sport, and everyone is very subjective. So it's very fun to have these discussions, and let's fucking do it. You know what I mean? Verizon sending me deals right now. They know I'm on Wednesday takes. What are you doing, Verizon sending me deals? All right, first topic. You guys know who it is. The big nose fella. I tease it on Remember the Show. People who've been with me for a while know I do not like Ariel Helwani. Now, I got to be a little careful. So I'm not going to just jump in and call the guy a scumbag and a slime ball and have no reason why I'm doing that, right? Because my name at this point is attached to John Anik, Kenny Florian. These guys might be friendlies with Ariel. John Anik has done pretty much everything for me. They're the fucking voice of the UFC. the guy who is the best MMA commentator in the world and will go down as the best MMA, I don't see anybody being better than him, has my back, has really gone to bat for me, has given me this platform essentially. Yes, MMA Takes existed before I did the Anik and Florian, but did it really? I owe a lot to John Anik. I'm forever loyal to that guy, and I never want to, because him and Ariel were colleagues at one point. I'm sure they're friendly. I don't want to ever say something that's going to come back to him. That's not fair, right? So I got to be a little careful, and I can't just go off the rails. So everything I'm going to bring up is just factual things and my opinions. And if Ariel has a problem with it, instead of texting John or whatever, we can have a powwow. I love to talk to the guy here. Reason number one why I do not like Ariel Helwani is Brock Lesnar. The Brock Lesnar UFC 200 news is some shady shit. That is still legend. And I hate to bring up the same old noise or whatever, but this is a guy who had access to the fighters because he worked for Fox, because he had a good relationship with Dana, because he had a good relationship with the UFC. He is who he is because of the interviews with Dana. He is who he is because of the access that the UFC gave him. The UFC used to tell fighters, you have to do this interview with him. Johnny Hendricks is sitting there with a broken nose, has to do the interview with him. That was a UFC requirement. This guy got put on the map of the UFC, and all these other fucking journalists or whatever would call him a shill and say, oh, you're in the UFC's pockets. And I think that really bothered him. I think, he goes, hey, I'm a journalist. I went to fucking Syracuse or wherever he went, right? But the Brock Lesnar stuff, right? So Rogan's came out and said his piece. Brendan Schaub came out and said his piece. And, Ariel 10-7 Brendan. But Ariel, besides crying on his show, what has he ever said about it? He denies, said, I did nothing wrong. I'm doing my job. I'm a journalist. Cool. Journalists don't give up sources, even though Dana said, hey, he got some people fired. There's apparently rumor that Nick the Tooth, Dana's friend, was the one that gave him the information. That's why Nick the Tooth's not on Looking for a Fight anymore. A lot of crazy rumors. Ariel could dispel all those, but instead, whenever someone brings it up, he goes completely nuclear. I remember on the MMA Hour, Aljamain Sterling, adorable, handsome Aljo, nicest guy in the world, right? He brought it up and casually brought it up, and Ariel fucking snapped at him. I wish I tried to find the clip to put it up here. I couldn't find it, but what is the reason? Right? You got banned for a little bit, got brought back. Why did that happen? And he doesn't hold himself accountable for fucking anything. Pay attention to this guy when he talks. Pay attention to him when heat comes down. Pay attention to him when accusations fly with him. You type in Ariel Helwani mad or Ariel Helwani something on YouTube, you get a ton of videos. Like Ariel Helwani's a psychopath. He's constantly contradicting himself. And that's fine, whatever. We're human beings. We make mistakes, yada, yada. But what happened with the Brock Lesnar stuff? And you're going to go back and say, hey, I'm a journalist. I don't share my sources. Okay. Does a journalist get bought out to host a Jake Paul press conference against Asim Rockman, which is probably going to do 85,000 pay-per-view buys? But the check cleared, and I'll fight for him on Twitter. I'll say, hey, Jake's actually fighting a real boxer now. Will a journalist who got bought out, will they do that? Or a journalist that got bought out by Showtime? Because he's on the Showtime events and he's breaking down the Woodley and the Jake Paul fight because he represented the MMA community in the Woodley Jake Paul era, right? This is the same guy. Okay. So journalist integrity matters unless there's a check involved. I still don't know what happened with the Brock Lesnar stuff. He's never came out and said it, at least from my knowledge. Again, hit me in the comments if I'm wrong. All I've heard is I'm not giving up my sources. Cool. We don't want your sources, but what happened? You couldn't hold on to that for fucking 10 more minutes and let the UFC break it? And the only reason you found out about it was because of the position you were put in by the UFC, by guys like Dana White, because of the access you had to him. Do you remember those one-on-one videos? Dana does scrums now. He does press conferences. Every once in a while, he'll sit down with Brett Okamoto, but you're not getting one-on-ones with Dana much anymore. Ariel was the guy that got the one-on-ones. You're going to sit there and tell me that to make his career? All right, number two. He's fighters first, right? Fighters need to get paid X amount of money and everything like that. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with him being fighters first. Fighters deserve way more money. Sure, I can get on board with that. These guys are in there busting their ass and risking their health and their lives, essentially. Yeah, let's get them paid more. But Ariel, seems like you're only fighters first when it comes to fighters that are going to give you clicks. your little walkabouts, your little big time interviews that you do with the McGregors, you do with the Diazes, you do with now the Patty Pimlets, you're pumping those up. You're retweeting them. MMA Fighting, who you work for, is retweeting them. How come if you're Fighters First and you're such a big name because your ego's through the roof, how come you live in New York, how come you don't pop up to Long Island and do a walkabout Marab? Marab is going to be fighting for the title at 135. He's got an incredible story from Georgia, a proud Georgian, now a proud American, unbelievable fighter, great personality, but casual fans don't know him all that well, and they should. And Ariel Helwani, Mr. Big Clicks, Mr. Big Dick Click, he could probably fix that, couldn't he? Why don't you just pop up to Long Island, walk around the river that he dove in and cracked his fucking head? Why do you do that? No. It's got to be Patty Pimblett. It's got to be Nate Diaz having a problem with the UFC. Those are the stories I want. It's Fighters First, but it's clicks first. It's who's going to make me the most money first. Then we'll worry about the fighters. He only does these big interviews with the big stars or the upcoming big stars, and Patty Pimblett. He's had 2 fights, right? And Patty's a star. I love Patty, but you know, if you're a fighter guy, if you're for the people, you need to put on for the people. And yeah, they've been on the MMA Hour, I'm sure, whatever, but you're not promoting these guys the way you're promoting guys that can give you clicks. And that's just fact. So it really, instead of you being the narrative, it's Fighters First, it's Ariel First. 100%. Look at the guy's tweets. It's riddled with narcissism. It's riddled with ego. It's about him, guys. And it's fine. We all have egos. I have an ego. I'm a narcissist. But guess what? I'm going to sit here and tell you guys that I'm not. And I'm going to sit here and tell you guys when I'm wrong. And if you come in the comments at me, yeah, fuck, I was wrong on that. Will he ever do that? Fuck, no. Yeah, right. Number 3, the biggest name in MMA media is Ariel Helwani. There's no way around it. He's the biggest name in MMA media. He's worked hard for it. I'm not going to disparage him that. He's worked everywhere. He's been on everything. But the biggest name in MMA media is the biggest anti-UFC Dana White guy there is. Now, I'm team UFC. I'm team Dana White, right? Always have been. You can call me a shill. You can call me anything you want. If you're one of those hipster fucks that go around that says Bellator does better fights, Bellator is a second number 2 promotion, get the fuck out of here. PFL is right there with Bellator. I think I enjoy PFL way more than Bellator. But Ariel is pushing this narrative. Now, I know he has said before, you know, this Muhammad Ali Act or whatever, there needs to be, you know, UFC is becoming this one-stop shop, the only option for fighters. So they can treat fighters whatever they want because it's the only option. So he's pushing up the Bellators. He's pushing up everything else. But he's only pushing up Bellator Showtime Boxing. He's not pushing the PFL really ever. He has Kayla Harrison on because she gives him clicks. She's one of the best fighters in the world, upcoming best fighter, great personality. He has her on. Name another PFL person he's had on. Has he had Ray Cooper on? Does he ever give a shit about Ray Cooper? No, because the PFL works with the ESPN and they are closely buddy-buddy with the UFC. So of course not. So how can the biggest name in the MMA media, the sport that I love, the sport that I've dedicated my whole life to, the biggest name is anti the biggest organization in it. And if you do not see the biases that he has towards the UFC, towards Dana White, it is crazy. Perfect example. This is a guy that got let go from ESPN. They couldn't make a deal, went back to MMA fighting. And he works for BT Sports, I believe. He has some kind of deals worked out. So he's been doing a lot of wrestling coverage. A lot of WWE wrestling or whatever. He pushes it all the time, and that's fine. Listen, I whatever. That's cool. But he's obviously getting paid. He's getting paid by the WWE. There's some kind of paycheck being made. And I know he's a WWE fan, a wrestling fan, but guess what? Vince McMahon just came out and had a $12 million lawsuit. $12 million just got discovered that he paid former employees that he slept with as a cover-up, right? Technically, not illegal, right? They didn't sue him or anything. He fucked them. He goes, I'm married. Let me give you some money, right? Kind of legal prostitution in a way. Morally very wrong, but I guess it's not illegal. But if Dana White farted at a press conference, MMA fighting Ariel Helwani would just ridicule him. Ariel Helwani hasn't sent one tweet out about a sport, if you want to, entertainment that he covers. The biggest name in that entertainment he hasn't said a peep about that. A guy who is cutting him essentially paychecks, him, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, whatever the fuck, he's getting a paycheck from this company, and he's not going to report because he's a hardcore journalist, and that's his job. Journalist integrity, do not share your sources. He's not going to bring that up. A pretty big story. Vince McMahon, the biggest name in wrestling, billionaire, paid several employees, former wrestlers, people that worked with him over the years, $12 million hush money. Really? If Dana White did that, whew, oh my God, you wouldn't hear the end of it. You wouldn't hear the end of it. So where's the objectivism there? Where's the journalist integrity there when you're covering this sport, entertainment? I don't want to call it a sport, entertainment, and the biggest name in that entertainment is doing something morally, objectively wrong, scumbag, slimeball behavior, and you're not getting a fucking peep. Come on. So that's my big three biggest things with Ariel Helwani. I could go on. I couldn't make the whole show about it. We're going to keep going. That was 18 minutes. Woo! 18 minutes of Helwani just makes me sick to my stomach. All right, topic number 2. Nate Diaz. I fired off a Twitter question. They're going to pop up on the screen. I'm going to have to read them from my phone here, boys. Fired up a Twitter question. Did the UFC do Nate wrong? Did they feed him to Chimaev, which they just announced? Was that morally wrong? Was it objectively wrong? Who has Nate's back? Who doesn't? Now, my 2 cents before I get to the Twitter questions, because there was a ton of you guys, Twitter followers. You guys are amazing. You hammered it. Thank you. I personally think it's kind of a weird matchup. I know Nate wants out. I initially said on the podcast, just let him go, right? He wants out of his contract. Just let him go. He's 37. I know he's a big name. He's a big draw. But just cut him, right? Just cut him, let him go box, let him do whatever. Dana White even said it so himself. He's like, yeah, I think Nate should box Jake Paul. Let him go make money outside. The guy's an entertaining fight. He's put his whole life on the line for MMA. He deserved the biggest and fattest paychecks it is. So I guess in this grand scheme of things, I don't love the matchup, but it's kind of what the UFC does. They don't owe Nate anything. He's not a former champion. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's been publicly coming out for years hating the UFC's pay scale and pay model. And let's just here's a take, Wednesday takes. Nate had a little bit of a following because he's a Diaz bro, right? Nick Diaz and Nate Diaz. They had a great fan base, 209 bitches, right? Everyone loved him. But Nate didn't become Nate until Conor. That's facts. Nate was a good employee, a good, exciting fighter, beat Michael Johnson, called out Conor McGregor, got the McGregor fight on short notice, choked him out, unbelievable, started doing talk shows, started going on Good Morning America, whatever the fuck. That made him not only a millionaire multiple times over, if he wasn't already, but that made him who he is. That made him pushing the number, pushing the needle. Do you remember Dana White came in? He's not a needle mover. Well, he is now. But you can thank Conor for that, guys. And if you don't like that pill to swallow, bear down, because that's the truth, boys. Conor is a once-in-a-generation fighter, and Conor made Nate Diaz. 209, yes, but proper number 12, just a little bit more there for on the Nate side. But anyway, I think it's a weird matchup. I'm not going to lie to you, but this is the UFC's model. When they were pushing Rich Franklin, before Rich Franklin got a title shot, who did he fight? Ken Shamrock, one of these older dogs. Rich knocked him out. They kind of do that with a lot of these younger fighters. They give them an old, established, popular vet that people know, and it's somewhat of a passing of a torch. It's been their business model for a while. A lot of people are very Nate Diaz strong, 209 Army strong, Diaz brother Army strong, so they're very against it. I don't love the matchup. I wanted Poirier. Don't know what happened with the Poirier thing. Nate said he asked for this fight. He wants any fight, then he wants out. But Nate is also rich and a little delusional. I said this, I tweeted this out. He called out Francis Ngannou and Izzy Adesanya. And then a guy tweeted me and was like, no. Listen, I speak fluent 209. That's not what he said, okay? What he said was, if you read between the lines, he's only on their level or whatever. And then I said, he's on the level of two pound for pound great champions, where Nate's never been pound for pound. Nate's never been a champion. How is he on the same level? He might even sell more than Izzy at this point, sell more than Ngannou. But if you're talking about pure skill, pure fighting, pure resume, Nate Diaz hasn't won a fight since 2019. He's 37. It's a weird comparison, and I'm a black and white kind of guy. I don't read between the lines when someone's talking. He's a grown man. Say what you want to say. Say it with your fucking chest, babe. So let's get to the Twitter question. So I think it's kind of odd, but it's their business model. I get it. I don't hate Nate Diaz. I'm not obviously a huge Nate Diaz fan, but it's not like I dislike the guy. I just think at this point in his career, he's a little bit delusional. I think he's going to go box Jake Paul, and then he might price himself out of a few different boxing matches, and then he'll complain about those companies as well. I think anywhere he goes, he's going to have a problem with the way they handle business. All right, first tweet about, did the UFC do Nate Diaz wrong? This is from the Diddy Bop, at the Diddy Bop. Nate will leave after this fight, get a huge payday for a much easier training camp to box Jake Paul, then will resign with the UFC on a 2-fight deal to come back, complete the McGregor trilogy, winning, then ends with DP. Nate wins in the end and getting everything he wanted. So that is a very positive, I like that prediction. That's very positive by the Diddy Bop there. That is something that, listen, if you're a Diaz fan, that is what you're going to want to happen for sure. That seems like a storybook ending. Will it happen? I don't know. I think he definitely will box Jake Paul if he leaves the UFC. A lot of people early in the week last week when I sent out that tweet about him delusional, they thought this was just a negotiation tactic. Nate's not going anywhere. We'll see. At Will Brewer _10. Bro, this fight is only happening because Nate didn't resign. Kazmat is the guy to hand Nate a devastating L on the way out. Nate deserves better. This is just a Kazmat coming out party. I would have loved Nate Dustin instead. Gotta agree with this. I think Dustin Nate would have been a better matchup. Chimaev, though, is the bigger star right now than Dustin. Dustin has reached the mountaintop and has failed. He's getting a little older. Chimaev called for this fight, and I think the build-ups could be amazing. And you're right. This is a business. They're building more stars, and Chimaev is the guy here. But let's not act like this is just, Nate just going to get mauled here, right? Nate has a shot, right? Plus 750 is the last time I looked. He's got a shot. Quadfather Corey, Quadfather MFT. This is a loyal Twitter follower. This is a good guy. I think the opening line should be Diaz minus 345. That is interesting. Probably good money, but not good chances for Diaz. Seems like an odd match considering Nate fights for money and Chimaev is fighting for ranking, but I am watching 100%. That is true. I'm going to watch. Take my money. Here, take it. It's yours because I'm watching that fight as well. No matter the circumstances, no matter if it's going to be a bloodbath, no matter if it's going to be very sad. I probably will be very sad if it ends the way I think it's going to end, but I will watch. Next up, at Hender Shooter 14, I believe it is the final FU for all the shit talk about the UFC and Uncle Dana, as well as being an all-around pain in the ass to deal with. And if it pumps Chimaev, so be it. So this, Jerry Mark, Hender Shooter 14, is kind of my sensibility. This is kind of their business model. They're going to try to pump Chimaev, and Diaz is on the way out. A lot of people on the other side of this coin think Diaz deserves better. Fuck that. Diaz deserves way better than this. UFC's doing them dirty. There's two kinds. Leave in the comments what you think. I'm kind of in the middle on this. As much as I want to be against Nate, I think the Poirier fight would make much more sense. They've been circling each other. It was supposed to happen. And then they give him Chimaev. Paul Smith here. Paul Smith, 1331. I think you should let Nate go ASAP and just move on. I agree. There's no good opponent for Nate except a Legends fight. But he's delusional and thinks he is at a different place in his career. He wants a contender. Looks like everyone got what they wanted. Again, if you're going to get mad at the UFC, Paul Smith got a great point. He was the one calling for Chimaev. He said he accepted this fight multiple times. He's been calling for contenders. He thinks he's on a level that he's not. Yeah, I thought maybe they should let him go. I thought there was two options. I'm going to keep repeating myself. Cut him, give him DP. Last one here from Jamie Froto MMA. UFC are blatantly trying to devalue Diaz as much as possible before he tests free agency, that when he does, they can invoke their right to match and bring him back for hopefully less than they would have, because obviously they want him back for the trilogy. So that is a good point. I do not know if the UFC has matching rights on Nate Diaz's current contract. I know it's a fairly new one. I got to imagine if Nate had smart representation, he would have said no matching clause. No matching clause. When I'm free, I'm free. I could be wrong on that. I don't know. But that is a good point. Maybe they're trying to devalue him so when he goes out there. But even if Nate loses, he's still going to lose. He's still going to crush it on the mic. People are still going to love him. I mean, Nate Diaz lost 4 rounds, lost every second of that fight with Leon Edwards, except the final whatever when he rocked him. I mean, and he didn't lose a fan one. Timbo, the guy that, is on the podcast with me, this guy's a diehard 209. But yeah, I can't disagree with too many of those Twitters. So if you disagree, comment, baby. All right, quick takes, fight announcements, pound for pound rankings, and the story time. So I was going a little bit longer than I thought. Dude, I want a tight 30, tight 45, boys. Tight 45. Is that okay with you? You guys already know how long it's going by now. Quick takes. Yuri wants a rematch with Glover. Jan not happy. So if you guys saw that video last week or so, Yuri posted a video, very intense. Guys like living in the woods, saying that he has thought about it and he wants to give Glover the rematch. It's the fair thing to do. When he already said Jan was next and he already said Jan would have been a harder fight, Jan's going, hey, bro, you already fucking told me I was getting it. Now you're going back with Glover. I think Glover needs a rematch. I think Jan, unfortunately, you're the champion. I know you got to sit out, maybe get one more fight, a good, smart fight for you. But Glover, he wants to end his career in Madison Square Garden, throw that fight Madison Square Garden. Unbelievable fight. Glover had every chance to win that fight. The guillotine. Let's get a hot him. I mean, you're in the moment. You're doing what, he thought he had him, and the fact that he got submitted by Yuri is absolutely crazy. That was a fight that was a battle of wills, battle of just everything. But yeah, I'm on Yuri's side. Give Glover the rematch, Jan. Hit the bench for a while. Yair versus Emmett for title shot. Volk wants intern while he heals up. This is some high-level fucking self-awareness fight by Alexander Volkanovski, one of the number 2 pound for pound. Spoiler, this fucking guy goes, my thumb's broken. We need to figure out who's number 1. Is it Emmett? Is it Yair? Yair's coming off the weird win over Ortega, and Emmett's coming off that very close Diddy win over Cater. Both deserve it. Who is it going to be? Let Volk heal up. He goes, throw an interim. When you've ever heard a champ go, throw an interim on it? Because he knows that's a fake belt. He knows that's just a number 1 contender's belt. He goes, throw the interim on those guys so I can fight the winner once his thumb heals up. The self-awareness, the confidence, and everything was brilliant by Volkanovski. I'm going to become a diehard Volkanovski fan. I pick against him every time he fucking fights. He's unbelievable. I don't know why I'm not on this guy as more as I should be. I'm a fucking idiot. If you got everyone in the world to be a Volkanovski fan, just I love this guy. And then he wants to pop up to 55 and fight the winner Charles in Islam. I like the Charles fight for him. I don't like the Islam fight. Now that brings us to fight announcements. Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev in Abu Dhabi. Now Charles, the champion, has a name, is Charles Oliveira. He said that I wouldn't fight in Abu Dhabi. I'm not going to go there. That's kind of home turf from Islam. If they want to throw an interim on that, that's fine. I'll fight the winner. I want to go to Brazil. Paycheck must have changed. Money must have changed because they're like, hey, we need this fight in Abu Dhabi. That's kind of the timeline that's set up, and he agreed to it. He tweeted it out. He seems excited about it. Tough matchup. Now, the fight analysis, I'm not going to give my prediction, but that's a tough matchup for Charles Oliveira, a guy I've completely underrated his entire career, and continuing to do so even though he was on this legendary run. Islam's not going to stand with him. Islam's going to take him down. He's a different kind of beast there. Oliveira's great on the ground, but this is going to be jiu-jitsu versus sambo. This is going to be jiu-jitsu versus Khabib grapple wrestling. Fuck, Khabib used to wear a shirt that says, like, if jiu-jitsu was hard, it'd be called sambo or some shit like that. So this is going to be a nice little test here. I think Islam is a big boy, and he's getting a home crowd here. I think the only way Charles Oliveira, if I was his manager, right, I'm going to put my manager's hat on here for a second. If I was Oliveira's manager, I would have said, cool. We'll do the fight because he's technically not champ, even though he's champion. Cool. We'll go do the fight. Win, lose, or draw, rematch in fucking Brazil. I don't give a shit. Sign it or not, that's the only way we're doing it. Because imagine if he loses and then he gets to rematch in Brazil. I mean, fuck, man, that's crazy. Giga Chikadze versus Sadiq Yusuf. Amazing fight. I like that. That's a co-main event fight. Upcoming there. Giga coming off that beating over by Calvin Kattar. Sadiq Yusuf, one of my guys. Kind of been quiet. Coming from the Contender Series with that win over Mike Davis, unbelievable. And then since in the UFC, he's just been a little, I know he tore his Achilles or something. He had, or maybe he didn't tell his Achilles. He had some kind of injury. I'm making shit up now. Now I'm just rambling, but I like that fight by both guys. I got a strong lean, and I don't know any lines, obviously, but I got a strong lean who's going to win that fight. You have to stay tuned. And then Bilal Muhammad versus Sean Brady. I was on the Remember the Show last week, and Bilal kind of discussed this fight. Got a little beef with Brady. Said he's a steroid-headed dork. And he said they are similar fighters, but he's way better. I love that fight. A lot of people are not really excited about Bilal as a fighter. And the boring word gets thrown around. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I thought he threw a masterclass on Vicente Luque. I think he's entertaining as hell. He's funny as shit. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on everything. The guy is funny. And he's been around forever. And his confidence is his all-time high. Go watch Remember the Show. The first 15 minutes of Bilal just saying all the right things. He is in championship mindset for sure. He has one thing on his mind in his championship mindset, and he's going to be tough to beat. Him and Sean Brady do the same exact thing. I think Bilal's a little bit better of a boxer. I think Sean Brady is a little bit bigger, right? And I think they both are going to cancel each other out with the grappling. I think they're both going to test each other's grappling. But that is a fucking banger of a fight upcoming. I believe October. So this fall, we're going to have some fucking bangers, boys. All right, pound for pound rankings. Now, this is what I hate being the guy that does the pound for pound rankings. I hate bringing them up and going, hey, look at my pound for pound rankings. Here's mine, is yours better? But I had a spirited debate with a gentleman in the comments, either my comments or Anakin Florian's. And he is consisting that Volkanovski's number one, which I'm okay with. So if you see on the screen right here, I got Usman number one. You can't, why wouldn't Usman be number one? The kid's a fucking stud. The guy's a stud. Alexander Volkanovski at number two. Izzy at number three. Charlie Alves at number four. And then Yuri Prochazka. I took Ngannou off there. I put Yuri on there. I think this guy is going to be tough to beat. His mental, his will to win and his power and his all-around game is really tough. I don't know if many people are going to beat him at 205, and that's why I put him at number 5. A lot of people haven't gone you there. I think looking right outside is Aljamain Sterling. A lot of people aren't going to like that answer, but I think Aljamain Sterling is going to cruise at 135 for a little bit. I think the only competition at 135 right at this second, I think he beats Sandhagen again. I think he beats TJ Dillashaw, is going to be Petr Yan if they ever throw that back again. So he's looking on the outside. I probably have Ngannou at 6. I don't do top 10s. Top 10s are for fucking children. I do top 5s. That's my top 5 pound for pound rankings. Disagree, agree, whatever. A lot of people at Volk got 1. But that's just because they're disrespecting my guy, Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is clearly number 1 for 1. And the argument I get, this is so funny, they go, he fought Colby, a guy who can't punch his way out of a paper bag. He fought him close 2 fights and barely won. Huh? What? Yeah, the second fight was close, but he knocked Colby out in the first fight. Why do people forget that? He finished Colby. It wasn't a close. Yeah, it was a competitive fight, but Alexander Volkanovski had 2 fights with Max Holloway that were super competitive. I believe he lost the second one. Does that not make him pound for pound? What? What's your argument? I've seen multiple people who say that. That's how much they hate Usman. They don't want to give Marty Usman credit, which is fucking bonkers. The guy's good. The guy's good looking. He's got swag. He's not going to lose. Just let's stop talking about boxing Canelo, okay? Let's stop talking about boxing Canelo. All right, last time, story time. Let's go. Final segment, story time. Now, you know your boy loves a good story about himself. I literally want to start another channel, and I was thinking Patreon, but I never want to charge you guys to listen to my product, listen to my content. What's a product? So I was like, because I have so many. Listen, I look like a 14-year-old boy. I'm 35. And I look like a guy that probably hasn't seen a lot, but I had a really rough childhood. That's going to be another story. I've been through a lot of shit in this old life of mine. My parents did an incredible job of raising me, or I would have been homeless somewhere. I can tell you that right now. My years birth to 8 were something that I hope someone never goes through. But anyway, got a lot of stories. Been through a lot of shit. Believe it or not, this fucking baby face, we've been through a lot. But I'm going to tell you the story about the seizure. So a lot of people are new to the show. If you aren't new to the show, you've heard this story a million times, but you've never seen pictures. I'm going to throw pictures up of my face and my hand afterwards on the screen. So this is why it's on YouTube. It's a visual experience, baby. It's all visual, baby. So, essentially what happened is I've been obsessed with MMA since I was 15. Gotten a lot of fights growing up. Parents said, And at 18, a fight showed up literally at my doorstep. Cops came, everything. Next day, dad bought me a punching bag, threw in the garage, became obsessed with that. Couldn't afford or couldn't even, my 1989 Maxima could not make it to an MMA gym. Not a lot of options in Cincinnati. Couldn't make it to one. So I just had to go to this one, literally, it was basically where homeless people piss and shit, but it was a historic building, so they couldn't condemn it or shut it down. And there was a boxing gym in there. And literally, you went, and there were kids all over the neighborhood. This is not a great part of town. Basically, you just went in there, and they would call it sparring, but you're just fighting somebody. But I went in there, and there was a drunk guy sitting around drinking booze who was the coach, and he wanted $20 to hold mitts, and he wanted this. I think his name was like Cobra. I went with a guy at work who said, hey, I know a spot. So I started doing that, and then I did that for on and off for about 2 years. Got really good, right? I'm not good at many things in this world. I'm not one of those guys that can just pick up things and be good at it, but I've always been able to kind of, I had hands. I could throw my hands a little bit. I was pretty good. I picked up boxing fairly easily. So then 21, 22 happens. I'm kind of, living in Clifton with Clifton's UC campus with like 10 of my buddies, getting drunk all the time, fucking chicks, girls and booze were like the only thing I cared about. And I never had a problem with alcohol or really women. I never had like an addiction, but that's what all I cared about. And finally, when I moved in with like a separate group of guys, I decided, you know what, I want to do this, right? And at the time, I was working 2 jobs, and then I just started school. I started school at 22 years old. I'm talking about college. I avoided college. I tried to do college after school, and I hated high school. So 22 years old, working 2 jobs, living on my own with 4 buddies, going to school, and I decided to add to an MMA resume. So I go and I start training MMA. Chris Curtis is who I met. Dom Steele, Daniel Strauss, Roger Bowling fought in the UFC and Strikeforce. Victor O'Donnell tried out for the Ultimate. I mean, this gym was loaded, right? So finally got the cost. I went up there and just really loved it. This is what I want to do for my life. This is it. I've always been obsessed with MMA. Never thought I had the ability to do it. Probably didn't, but I was sparring and working with the best talent in Cincinnati, and it was the time of my life. Problem is 2 jobs, school, demanding ass fucking girlfriend, not my wife, some other broad. And I was just running myself thin, just completely running myself thin. Now, I didn't want to fight amateur. The coach, the guy who owned it, set me up with an amateur fight a few times. I actually did a stare down with a guy that we were going to fight. But my whole thing I don't want to get punched in the head for free, right? I want to train with these pros who I'm working with every day, and I want to get good enough to be a pro, right? And they were like, well, you're going to represent our gym. We can't have a pro going out there just completely laying an egg. And I understood. I said, okay, well, I'm going to keep fucking training. And if I look good enough, or if you think I'm good enough, then we'll go pro, right? So at that point, it was a mistake of mine because I was burnt out. I wanted to fight. I was burnt out. Didn't want to take amateur fights. And I had a million things going on in my life, right? So broke up with the girlfriend. And then 2 jobs, school, training. Instead of all the time I was spending with her, I decided to add going out on the weekends and drinking every night, which I had stopped drinking at that point. Trying to find girls, and then lifting weights and doing like CrossFit shit. So I literally was just on E at this point. Chris Curtis, dear friend of mine, was getting ready for a fight. Dom Steele getting ready for a fight. They called me up. They're like, hey, do you want to come to the gym? Haven't been in like a month. I took like a month off. They had redid this part. They added like track and field stuff, like fake grass, push sleds and shit. So like, we really need you to come in and spar. I'm a big body. I march forward. I was a good sparring partner. I said yes. And I miss Chris. I haven't seen Chris in a while. Miss Dom. I'm going to go out there. Wake up that Monday to do it. Off work, both jobs. Had the worst headache of my life, right? And I get migraines. Worst headache of my life. I said, fuck, man, this is terrible. But I'm a guy that if I make a commitment, I'm going to do it. I told Chris I was going to be there. I told Chrissy I was going to spar with him. This is what I'm going to do, right? So I literally wake up, throw about 4 ibuprofen down my throat, grab a water out the door. Now, the gym from my house was about, probably like 20 minutes, but it was highway. As I like right enter the highway, that's the last thing I remember. Everything else is very foggy. How I didn't wreck on the highway, how I'm still talking right now, because I don't remember the drive at all. I remember parking in front of the gym. I'm a very punctual person. I was there early. Parking in front of the gym. No one's there yet. Don't have a key. Sitting in my car, my little 2007 Ford Focus. And I'm just dying. I'm chugging the water going, all right, Brian, let the ibuprofen kick in. Let the water kick in. You're okay. And it wasn't kicking in. Then I got a knock on the window. Chris and Dom were there. The owner of the gym was there. We got in. Chris and Dom hit the mat. They start warming up and everything. I was like, yeah, I'll be in there in a second. And I remember this. And I remember the owner, Jason, was like, hey, come check out this room. You haven't seen it yet. Come check out the fitness place. I was like, cool. Walk in the room. Boom. Don't remember anything else. Wake up in the hospital, butt-ass naked, with my phone on my chest. Face a mess, teeth hurt, sore nose. The first thing I looked at was my hand. I had these 2 holes in my hand. You'll see the pictures on the screen from just digging into the fake grass, like as I was convulsing. Look over, see my mom. She's crying. Look over, see my stepdad, Don, my dad. He's crying. I go, what happened? And they're like, you had a seizure. Never had a seizure in my life. Don't have epilepsy. Just have headaches, right? Nothing. And I go, huh. And I don't remember anything. I don't remember the ambulance side. I don't remember anything. And I just literally pick my phone up and I have a billion missed calls, missed texts. My wife, who wasn't my wife then, our first date was literally the day before that. And it was an amazing first date. I told her I had a busy Monday, but I hadn't texted her. And she's texting me. I'm ignoring her. She thought I blew her off. She's with her friend going, this fucking guy blew me off. Now, I had known my wife prior. We had dated earlier in life, and I fucked that up. So I wasn't going to fuck it up again. I also was texting with a few other women at this point as well. So this is really the deciding factor of how I essentially decided that my wife was the one. Was obviously, I knew she was, but process of elimination, because the other 2 women, when I said, hey, I sent him a picture, which is on the screen right now, my face. I sent that to him and said, hey, this is why I've been ignoring you. I just woke up in the hospital like this. I'm still trying to figure it out. All the other 2 girls, the 2 other girls were like, oh, well, when you feel better, let's grab a drink. And my wife, Erica, goes, what hospital are you at? I'm coming there now. And they discharged me. So she met me at my parents' house. And, yeah, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I remember driving home. I couldn't hold my head up for like 2 days. I slept for like 2 days. It was weird. And I tried to break up with Erica before it got serious. I said, listen, I don't know what this is going to be. This is going to be crazy. You don't need this in your life. I'm going to have a seizure every fucking 2 days. You don't know. You don't need this. She said, fuck you. Fuck you, buddy. So then I go see the doctor. She immediately thought I was on drugs. I've never taken, I smoked pot in high school, smoked some weed in high school. Don't do smoke pot, right? Never done anything, but she immediately thought I was a drug addict because I have no epilepsy, no anything. So then they ran a bunch of tests. I did a bunch of tests, MRIs. They put these little bulbs on my head, whatever. And they saw some abnormality in my frontal lobe. But other than that, everything was good. So she just assumed I was diabetic or I was on drugs. Not diabetic. And I'm not taking drugs. It fucking piss test me. So then literally since then, I've never gotten a full reason why I've had my seizure. It's been going on 10 years. It'll be 9 years this May, 10 years next. May 13th. That's why I couldn't do it last week. The 13th is a bugaboo for me, the number. Never had one since. And I've been through 5 different doctors, 7 different doctors actually. I'm on my 7th one now. MRIs, everything. They just don't know. The frontal lobe thing could have been from birth, could have been from anything. They just don't know. But needless to say, they told me, don't spar, don't get hit in the head, don't do that. So I had to kind of shut it down. Now, do I think I would have been world champion? Do I think I would have made it to UFC? No. I think I had some talent. I didn't have the work ethic. I didn't like the cardio. I didn't like running. I didn't like sacrificing like a guy like Chris Curtis and other guys at that gym that I saw sacrifice. I wasn't willing to do that. I had talent. I had it for fun. Maybe I could have made that switch at some point if I really kind of just let go some of that shit I was doing with the 2 jobs and the school and the girlfriend and all that. I could have maybe let some of that go and really focus on that, but I didn't. So we'll never know. But it really kind of hurt because that's what that's what I want to do. And then I'm a hyper focused guy. So right after that, I stopped training altogether. I still watched MMA, but I wasn't, I didn't know how I was going to be a part of it. I didn't think I'd be doing this. I didn't think I'd be talking to you. And then I started betting on it, and then the website happened, and then this happened. So, yeah, so that's how I ended up here. So that's my story of people always like, oh, do you train? Have you done this? You know, you're a fat guy. You don't know anything. I've been in there with some guys, okay? So that story time went a little longer than I thought, and I apologize. All right, that's it. That's Wednesday Takes. I promise you the show's going to get better from here. Always going to need your help. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. Brian Peacher MMA on Twitter. It's on the screen. MMA Takes Podcast on Instagram, on the screen. Hit that subscribe button. This is YouTube only show. We're not putting this on anything else. This is YouTube only. Tell a friend. We're at 600 something 80 subscribers. Let's get that number to 1,000. Okay, so I can give away some stuff, so I can do something. Okay, thank you for watching the show. Wednesday Takes, first one in the can. God damn it, I hope I didn't talk too long.